Thunderboard Sense to your computer. And then as soon as you do that, you should see them right here. I actually have like 2 boards, so I'm going to disconnect one. And you should see them right here. So you should see when you click on the board, you should see the Thunderboard EFR BG22 in here. And then what we're going to do, in my case, since I have several SDKs, I have a different SDK. So you want to make sure you're using the latest one, which is either 274 or 275, which is really the latest one. So as soon as you do that, then you should see a list of projects that are available here. And we're going to start with this SOC empty. So you can either invoke it through here, or you could go and click new project, which I actually like better because I can change the name of my project. And then you select your Bluetooth SDK, the latest version or whatever version you guys have it in there. And then SOC empty. It's basically the same thing, but the only difference is you can actually change the name. So I can go here and call this Lab 1 May 12. So this way I know what I'm doing here. And then just wait a little bit. In your case, I have IAR, but we're going to use GCC today. So you guys should also, throughout the process of installation, you should see GCC right here, the 721. So in the past, we used to use 493. So if you guys have an older installation of GCC, please choose 721 because we only test our stack nowadays with the 721. So it's very likely if you have 493, you're going to have compilation errors there. So, and we're going to click finish, and that should open our project for us here. All right, so as you guys can see my screen, the first thing that pops up is our get configurator. So just to give you guys an idea of how things look like here on Simplicity Studio. I like to keep all my other projects closed because they tend to use a little bit more memory. So, this is our launcher screen. Like I said, I clicked on the board, new project, or you guys can go straight to here. Then once you open a project, you're going to go to this Simplicity Studio IDE tab. And then this is our get configurator right here. So the first thing that we're going to do is really to create a new service and characteristic. So if you guys look into step 2.2 there, it will show you how to do that step by step. So I think I'm gonna let you guys get to this point, and then we're gonna start moving forward. If you guys have issues, let me know. Then we can basically go from there. And again, if you guys wanted me to move a little faster or slower, please use your buttons in there. Like Lauren mentioned, go faster, go slower. Then I can adjust my pace as you guys are progressing through the lab. It's the first time that we do this virtual seminar. Like whenever we do those in person, is much easier because you can have a feel of what's going on in the room. But doing virtually, those functionalities are really helpful because it kind of gives you that feeling that we would have if we were like in the same room. Hopefully, we're going to be able to do this in person sometime soon.
Let's actually do a quick test to make sure that those nonverbal cues are working. So if everybody is able to hear me and just click that yes button to make sure that those cues are functioning correctly and we can see them.
Yeah, I see like 2 people.
A couple people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm starting to see more now.
Okay, again, if you guys have issues, please just raise your hand. We'll get notified. But again, continue to use those if you're having any issues.
Yeah, so assuming if you guys got into here, then the next step is you guys gonna need to click here somewhere inside of this box, and then you should see here this icon that basically allows you to create a new item. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna create a new service, and you don't have to give a name, just keep it like that. But if it was your new service that you're establishing, so the nice thing is the get configurator already picks like a completely random number for you on your UUID. So it's great to use the functionality when you're creating a custom service. We also have here, as you can see, we have a little tab where there are some pre-made services that are defined by the SIG. So let's say if you guys are doing like a health thermometer, we have like profiles and services. So you could come here and choose like a health thermometer service, and you notice like as you have the service in here, you also have all the characteristics that are typical that are associated with that service defined by the Bluetooth SIG. But again, in this case, we're just creating a custom service from scratch, and then the next thing we're going to do is really to create a new characteristic from scratch as well. So oh, and by the way, I believe we have posted in our chat the lab procedures. Is that correct, guys? Did you guys post it in there?
Yeah, I posted it earlier. Can everybody see it? Or if anybody doesn't have access to it, then just let us know.
Yep. Oh, great. Thank you, Andrew. All right, so we have created here our characteristic. And then what we're going to do, we're going to change the name of the characteristic to read and write. So if you guys add this user description here, that's not the case for our app, but some apps will allow you to use to basically see this particular characteristic. So whenever you're scanning for it, if you keep the description in there, it will show up as reading right. So I don't think that's in the lab description here, but I like to comment on it because some scanner apps allow you to do that. The other thing you want to do, you want to enable the ID, because that's how our stack will know like this is actually like the characteristic that you're touching on. And then we're gonna make this a UTF-8 type, and then it's gonna be 1 byte, and we're gonna call it just R. So it's gonna be reading right. And then here in this particular box, that's where you select like what types of functions you're gonna allow that particular server to have. So like in this case, we're gonna enable the read and write function to it. So let's say right, and then those are kind of like the main things that you're going to do for the characteristic. So let's say if I wanted to do a notification service here, or a notification transaction, I would enable also notify or indicate, or if you want to do an authenticated read or bonded read. So you have all kinds of options here that you can add, and then you can just pick them and then basically just add those properties to the characteristic, and that will allow you to manage it later on. So once you guys set all those the configurations on the characteristic, so you should see here we have the service, we have the characteristic, then you click generate, and that will generate the database that will have those characteristics in there. So as you can see, there are 3 files that have been changed. So we have the getdb.h, getdb.c, And we also have this get XML, and this is if you look into this particular file, it uses the same format that the SIG uses. So let's say if you guys use a different system to generate your get characteristics, you could use this get XML, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So let's assume like I don't have this, so I could come here and use this button right here to import a get database, and then you can point into that get.xml. In this case, it will be the same thing because I just created that, but it will show you you know, all the characteristics that you have in there, right? So you know, we follow the SIG instructions. So, but this is our tool. Okay, so once you guys have generated that, we have, like I said, we have the getDB.h. One thing that happens is our configurator adds this getDB underscore whatever the name of the characteristic that you have created, and that's what we're going to use later on. So we have an extra credit for the ones that finish this lab in time. So I'm going to post this in our chat if you guys want to do that later on. Hopefully we're going to have time to do that. All right, so once you do that, then you should be able to compile the code. So in order to compile the code, you can click this hammer here to build. So it will build the code for you. We have Simplicity Studio is very flexible, so you have like a lot of like different ways to do the same things. So the lab here is telling you to use the debug functionality to basically load the image to the board. So you guys can go ahead and do that. Or the way that I particularly like to do this, I like to use the Flash programmer. So you notice like if everything went well, you should see here in the bottom of your screen, you should see like our sizing tool indicating like, you know, the size for our stack, our app loader. You know, the bootloader, the board comes with a built-in bootloader, so you guys don't have to worry about that. On our third lab, which will be Thursday, we're going to go over how to generate the bootloader. But that's why like you're not seeing anything here for the bootloader. We also have a tool called app loader, which is part of our stack. So basically, it's a mini version of our stack that allows you, in case like whenever you're updating the device, in case there's an issue, you're gonna be on a state that you notice like you'll be called OTA, and it's a mini version of our stack, and it allows you to update yourself. So you know, if the data gets corrupted or interrupted, you go back to a state that is basically just a bootloader that allows you to upload a new image. So that's our app loader, and it's optional, but you know, it's something that we like our customers to use. And then you can see the size of our stack and all that. So, and then in addition to that, you should see our binaries in here in this particular side. Oh, we have some questions here, guys. Let's see which questions do we have. Yep. Somebody has raised their hands, but I think it's Francis Young. Francis, do you have a question? If you do, please post on our chat, and then we can answer that. All right. So as I was saying, once you compile the code, you should see it right here. And then when you right-click over, so I like to use the S37 files, but all the files should work. The only one that I always try to avoid is the binary file, because the binary doesn't have the address definitions. So I try to avoid that because you need to know where to place it. But either the hex file or S37 should work. And then you right-click over it and flash to device. And then you can basically just program your board. Yeah, or if you guys want to follow like what is in the procedure there, you can click on the debug button and you basically do the same thing. So it goes like really fast, so you cannot really see what's happening in there. like in the bottom here, it will show you like kind of like the progress part, but like I said, it went like so fast that you were not able to see, and then you can execute this with the debugger. Okay, so I'm gonna pause here again, wait for you guys to catch up, and then I'm gonna come back and just finish the lab, and then I'm also, while you guys are doing this, I'm gonna post my extra credit here if you guys want to do that. Yeah, so if you guys are seeing a connection error, what you need to do is you need to press the reset button on your Thunderboard. There's a security, there's a little bug on the programmer that we have in that board. So before you program, make sure you press reset. I forgot to mention that. So it's a little bug that we catch. It's a brand new board, and we probably going to be posting an update pretty soon to fix that issue. But if you guys are seeing the error, just press the reset button and click program, and that should fix it. And the lock status unknown, that's also another thing that pops up. Just ignore that, and then there's an option there that you click query lock status, and then that should do it as well. All right. So I'm gonna keep going here. If you guys have any issues, so I have here my phone. I'm using my mirror here. Hopefully this will work. And if you guys have your phone connected, you should see a similar screen. Oh, one thing I forgot to do, actually, I forgot to change the name here. So you wanna maybe change the name to, you know, something. We have like this as empty example. So I'm just gonna call this, you know, CF empty. And then you can change like, you can change the, depending on like how, whatever name you put in there, you're gonna need to make sure you have enough characters to handle it. I'm just gonna redo this real quick, just so we see the proper value in there. I'm gonna flash to the device. This thing has locked. Hold on. I'm gonna need to relaunch this. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna use something else then. All right, can you guys see my screen right there? Yeah, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna, so basically, if you guys go, I'm gonna go back here. This is what you should see on your screen there. Then if I click on browser, then I basically show like everything that I have around me in terms of Bluetooth. And I'm seeing like my empty device in there. You know, what happens is, as you guys can see, the name that is showing up here is the name. So the phone, every time you connect a Bluetooth device to it, it will basically store the name of that particular device. So it didn't update. So if I disconnect and connect again, then it will show me my new name. So which I'm gonna do that. The other option is really to disable your Bluetooth and then hit re-enable it. This is a phone feature. It's not, yeah. So now it shows empty example here, and then you should see like the service. So each of you will have your own service in there. So when you click more information, you notice I have the ability to do read and write. So what we're gonna do, if we click read here, you should see, remember like when I set that up, I put this as R here. So if we look into our characteristic, the value that pops up there is R, right? So that's what we're seeing here. I could go here and basically just make this right and then send. And now like I have changed that particular value. So this is our basic lab for today. And hopefully you guys were able to do that. If you were able to do that, then I just posted like a couple of like minutes ago, I posted the extra credit. So basically what that is, I'm gonna show you guys here. It'll basically show you how do you go from creating a service to really manipulate it that within your code in there. So what you guys can do, and I want to navigate you guys through the process here. So, you know, we have a bunch of like different files, but the main where our Bluetooth stack runs, it's an event controlled stack, right? So everything happens as events, and so you have commands that trigger events. So, you know, this is where our main state machine is, this app.c file. And that gets invoked by our main.c. So you can see here on main.c, those are all the Bluetooth configurations. So that's where you can define, you know, what's the number of like maximum connections. So with this particular device, with the BG22, we can have up to 8 simultaneous connections. So, but we're only using 4 now. You can adjust the Bluetooth stack heap. You can adjust if you want to have OTA or not. There are a couple of like different functionalities in here. If you're using the PLR FCO or the LFXO, if you want to enable or disable sleep, is also right here. And then, as you notice, we're going to initialize the microcontroller, the board, and then we jump into that app.c file into the main state machine for our Bluetooth stack. And then again, the first thing it does here, if you guys look into the first event that pops up is really the system boot ID event, and then it starts advertising. Another cool feature of our stack, which it's not currently enabled, but we have the sprint log. So it's basically a printf that you can see on your screen. So if I go and enable that, so in order to enable that, you guys got to go to app.h. And you notice like there's this debug level, it's 0 right now. So you can go and change that to 1. And that will allow you to basically see things popping up on your serial port, right? And then after you do that, so like I said, we have events. So the boot ID, system boot is the first event that pops up. That's where we set the device to advertise. So if you want to change the advertisement, so right now, it's doing like the numbers that you guys see here is whatever the advertisement set times 1.6. So we have 100 milliseconds advertisements right now. So if I want to make it faster or slower, you can go ahead and change it right here. And then that's also like where you change if you want to be discoverable or connectable, scannable, or if you want to be just non-connectable. So if you look here, you can press Control, or if you have a Mac like me, you can use Command and click on the function. It will give you like all the enumeration possibilities in there. So if you want to be non-connectable, directed connectable, scannable, so you can choose like whatever options are in there. So, and then you have other cases for different events, right? So all we're gonna do right under this Gecko system boot event, we're gonna add another event that I created, which is right here. So you guys can copy this whole thing and place it right here. So basically what we were doing is, this is the event that whenever we go and change the characteristic the way we did, it will basically trigger this particular event. And then what happens is we're basically, I'm just setting an LED. You know, every time I change that particular characteristic, I want to see the LED flipping. And then that's exactly what we're going to do here. I guess it got a little weird here when I copy and paste from my PDF. But so basically what we're doing here, so like I said, whenever you change whatever characteristic, it will pop up this particular event. And then within the event, I'm looking to see, yeah, is this the right characteristic? Yes, it is the right characteristic. And then if it is the right characteristic, which operation am I trying to do here? And I guess it's still missing a little bit of code here. Oh yeah, I didn't copy the toggle. Okay. So I know, and then basically what's gonna happen is we're gonna toggle this LED every time we hold on. You got completely, okay, let me just fix that. The indentation became a little out of control here. All right, so every time we touch this particular characteristic, then we're gonna toggle an LED, and you should also see if you enable an app.h the debug level to 1, you should be able to see also like a printf saying, you know, the attribute has been written with the value of whatever you guys place it in there. And this is the structure that holds like whatever value you're attaching to it. So since we only have 1 byte, I'm only using the data 0, but you can have up to, I believe, 256, 250, sorry, bytes in there. So, you know, you depending on the application that you're trying to do, you can have more or less bytes. And then now let's compile. Let's see if this goes through. Oh, I got an error here. Yeah, I guess copy and pasting, not a good practice. So what you guys can do, you can just copy this here. And I'm gonna add it here. Let's see if that does it. Okay, all right, that should work now. And then I'm gonna do the same thing here. Just gonna program it. All right. Let's see if you guys can see my screen. Again. So we have the characteristic now. And as you can see, we're still seeing it as read. So I'm gonna basically go ahead and add right here. Or you could actually do whatever. And that should flip your LED in there. Let's see if we can also see that on the UART. So in order to do that, you guys gotta go back to the launcher screen. You're gonna right click over the board, the top one, the J-Link, and launch console in here. And then you select serial 1. You don't have to use this interface here. You could also use PuTTY or whatever you're used to. And then I'm gonna reset my board. And you should see here, you know, it will basically, whenever you do that, it will break the connection with the phone. And then, let's see here. For some reason, it's gonna connect. I think I probably loaded the wrong file into my board. Let me do that one more time. Maybe I'm changing the app.c from like a different file. I actually have another one that I have done yesterday. It's the same thing. Yeah, so this is the code that I have added to it. Same exact code that we have it in there. And I'm gonna load it to my board. Okay, so if I reset the board, I should see it. It's advertising in here. And then so every time when you connect to the board, you should see this connection open in here. And then you can put like whatever actually. As you can see here, as I put W in there, you should see on your UART, like whatever you put it in there. And then you should also see your LED flipping here. Not sure if you guys can see the little light there on my camera. But you know, if I basically put whatever in there, you should also see the value right here. So, you know, that's the extra credit. And the idea here was really to show you how can you correlate the, you know, like the get service coming from here to your application, where you're really touching and looking, you know, how to change those things. We have other, if you guys go to docs.scilabs.com, we have all the other APIs and events that you can use. In this particular case, we are not using the user. So like whenever we're using the characteristic here, we're using this UTF-8. If you use, instead of like UTF-8, if you use the user one, that will give you much more freedom, and you can actually do much more with it, including like we have like functions on docs.scilabs.com that will allow you to read and write and do like more things. So you can basically respond whenever you want. So in this particular case, you're using the stack is replying back with an ACT. So this is a transfer type that gets ACT, right? So, and the stack is doing that for you. But if you want to do that yourself, then you have to use the user type, and then there's another case that you can use to be able to handle that. So anyhow, we're here. Hopefully it'll be good to know where you guys are, if you guys are able to conclude the lab, and we're here to help. Can you guys use the buttons here to tell like how many of you were able to conclude the lab? Just say yes, just so I know like you guys are able to conclude this lab for today. Or if you guys are having trouble, let us know. We can unmute some of you, and then you guys can also ask like questions live.
If you guys are wanting to ask questions live with your audio, please raise your hand and I'll go ahead and unmute you so you can ask those questions one at a time.
Yeah, so we have a question from Neelam here. Hey, Neelam, nice to see you here. This is a bug, this lock status unknown. It's a bug on our device. So basically, this is a secure device, and there are some security issues on this particular on the programmer. So just click on the query status, and that should basically clear you out. And also like press the reset button. The other thing you guys can do that basically worked for me, as you click on the board here, when you go to the launcher screen, you should see there is a secure firmware version, and it says unknown. So go ahead and read the firmware version. And if you guys have anything that is below 122, go ahead and change that. It should basically prompt you to the proper firmware upgrade there for the 122, and that also will get rid of like the need of like resetting the board.
Yeah, Claudia, one thing I just wanted to mention is the out-of-box firmware on the boards are programmed such that they'll go to sleep after 30 seconds. So the first time you try to flash it, if you're not quick,
Right.
you know, it'll go to sleep and then you have to reset it again.
Yeah, you typically don't see those issues. So this is our Thunderboard Sense as our 1999 board, but you guys can also have our complete board. This is our WSDK wireless starter kit, and then it comes with like the radio boards. So you know, this is the BG22 radio board. But as you're working with our stack, you could with our devices, you could use other devices in the future. So we have been using those wireless starter kits for a couple of years now. And the nice thing is, once you have the baseboard, you can buy those radio boards and then keep switching them. And it comes with a display. It has the debugger in there. It also has, like, for tomorrow, we're gonna use this. There's this adapter here that we can use to basically monitor power and also program your board. So you can get that as well. We're gonna use this in the lab tomorrow in order to basically monitor the power that the board is consuming. But you know, it's a great tool. It's a little bit more expensive. I believe it's like $100 or $150, but it gives you like way more capabilities than what you have with the Thunderboard. So the Thunderboard, quick way to get started. It has a debugger and everything, but it's somewhat limited compared to what you can do with our WSDK.
Mike, are you still having issues? We can go ahead and unmute you, and if you want to kind of work through that, we can do that for you now.
We also have a question from Barrett. It says like he can only write the characteristic one time during a connection. Any additional attempts to write? So which phone are you using, Barrett? Do you have an iOS phone or do you have an Android phone? Android. Yeah. Unfortunately, I only have an iOS device. It could be some sort of like incompatibility.
Claudio?
Yep.
I have an Android phone and I actually see the same issue. What I had to do is I had to go back a couple screens and then go forward. So I think we have a small bug on the Android side. Won't let you write to that characteristic multiple times from the same window. So if you go back a couple windows and then go back to the characteristic, then you can write it again, is what I found.
Thank you, Conrad. Yeah, you know, the more that I love our app, you know, it's a tool that we provide, but there are also like some other apps you guys can use. There's this app here that I actually use quite a lot called Light Blue. It's from a company here in San Francisco called Punch Through, and their app is also really good. You know, it works like really well, and as you guys can see, it's basically the same functionality, but it's a little simpler. And you know, as you click, kind of works the same way. I can click here, and so unfortunately, like I said, it's less polished. So instead of like seeing R, I'm seeing like 52 in hex. But basically, you know, I can actually, can I change that? Maybe I can change. Yeah, I can actually see here what that means. You know, but this is the app that I personally like to use the most, and that, if you guys are having trouble with our app, then I would recommend using this instead. The only thing is, like, for tomorrow, we really need to use our app because we're gonna do an OTA, or actually Thursday, we're gonna do an OTA, and you can only do the OTA through our app, right? But for what we're doing today, you can use light blue, and then I can read and write. So I could go here, let's put like 57 and hex, and then I wrote like basically W to it. So it's just, like I said, it's not as polished as ours, but it basically works really well. So that's another option if you guys want to use a different app. But there's nothing wrong with our app. It's just like this one. I have been doing BLE for like a long time, and I've been using this app for a long time too. So it's just another option. Can you guys show me again how many of you were able to conclude the?
And again, to access those nonverbal cues, go into the click participants, and then your options should be listed at the bottom.
Yeah, see, Andy, if you're having any trouble, let us know. We can try to help you to get through the lab here. Yeah, so since you guys are waiting and we have a little bit of time, I'm gonna start showing you guys some other features here. I didn't try this, so it's very likely gonna fail here. But so we also have like a really cool feature called Network Analyzer. We just had a tech talk a couple of weeks ago going over it. I think it was actually last week. So we have this network analyzer that allows you to see all the raw packets coming from the device. I believe this device should work with the network analyzer. Let's see. As you can see here, like I'm seeing all the advertisements that my board is putting into the air. And let's see if when I connect to it, what's gonna happen. So
that's probably all the Bluetooth devices in your area too.
Right, that's right. So yeah, like as you can see here, this is when I connected my device to my phone, and then you can see all the different messages coming through, like from one device to another, right? And then basically I can, what I'm gonna do now, well, let me keep my screen here just so you guys can see it. I'm gonna basically write to the device, or read, actually. I'm gonna just read it, and then it should, yeah. So as you guys can see here, we can see those two transactions right here. So it's a really cool functionality that we have that allows you to basically go further in your development. And the nice thing is, like, the way this happens, we have an interface that we call PTI, packet tracing interface. Uses like a 2-wire, and it's like a UART-like interface. And basically that feeds into our programmer that you guys have in the board, and then the programmer transmit that through USB to your Simplicity Studio. So you're actually seeing the raw data coming from the radio through the PTI interface, and then Simplicity Studio is just interpreting that, right? So it's a really cool functionality, because, like I said, sometimes debugging BLE, it can be challenging, So because if you're using the debugger per se, then if I add a breakpoint, let's see, if I add a breakpoint right here, then what happens is whenever I hit that breakpoint, it breaks the connection. So it can be challenging, right? So having tools like the network analyzer and also using the UART is a great way to basically see what's going on, and without having trouble, right? So it's like another tool that we have. Tomorrow, actually, yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna show you guys the energy profiler. So it's either gonna be me or Andrew or Conrad. So it's energy profiler is another tool that we have that can monitor the power that this particular device is using. Unfortunately, we have to use the other board, so I'm gonna show that tomorrow. I just don't want to jump into it right now. But since we have a little bit of time, I figured let's use it with something useful here. So. Yeah, so Calvin, well, I'm actually using the Thunderboard. So this particular Thunderboard has the hooks um, to our network analyzer. Our previous versions of the Thunderboards, they didn't have that, but this one does. So like for the network analyzer, you don't need the WSDK. You can just, I'm literally just using the board connected to my USB here. So. I think we have like 5 minutes left. If you guys have any more questions or things that you guys would like to cover, we have time. So feel free to ask any, even like Bluetooth questions or regular general like Scilabs questions. We're here to help. I don't see the GUI under Network Analyzer tab. If you're not seeing the Network Analyzer in the top here, then what you should do is you see like this button here. It's Open Perspective. And then you can go ahead and click a network analyzer, and then it will pop up. So if you don't have that option or that tab right here, then again click in this particular button and go into network analyzer. The other thing that's possible, so if you guys are already doing like Zigbee development or any kind of like other stack development, then it's quite possible that the analyzer is set for a different stack. So what you should do, if that's the case, then you close the capture. Then you click on the board one more time. Oh, sorry, I clicked on the wrong button. That's not the one. We're gonna click right here. So we have this little cog here that pops up like all the preferences, so the device manager preferences. Then you guys gonna go to network analyzer, decoding, stack versions. Like in this case, it's doing auto detecting, but I recommend using like the proper stack. So in this case, we want Bluetooth Low Energy. Click OK, and then launch that again, and that should do it in case you guys didn't have that before. So yeah, it takes a bit of time to update it here. Yeah, so I just connected again to the device. It has done an MTU request. So if I open this particular page here and I read, then you should see all those transactions right here. I'm actually going to go back to our app now. So yeah, same thing. Yeah, so you should see here. So write request, and then when you click on it, you can actually see even like the PDU. So if you look here, you can see even like the data that that I sent. Like you can basically go through it and basically see the payload and everything. So Calvin is asking how if we can go over the energy profiler. So we're going to go over that tomorrow, Calvin. We're almost done for today. We only have a minute left, but I'm going to go over this tomorrow in our following session, showing how to use like low power mode and low power beacon. So I'm going to go over that tomorrow.